Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel, and we are reacting to the news that Diego Maradona has died at the age of 60. Terribly sad news for the football world. Maradona had brain surgery, I think, earlier in the week that was successful, but there's obviously been complications. And sadly, one who is regarded by many, a lot of those that played against him, as the greatest player to ever lace up his boots and kick a football. Obviously, it's a bit of a love-hate relationship with Maradona as an English football fan, but I just wanted to kind of say, because no football fan isn't affected by Maradona in some way. Even if you're very, very young, you'll know about him. And I mean, I'm in my late 30s and can remember, the 1990 World Cup. Not quite 86, which was his absolute pomp, but just an absolute giant of the game. Came through Argentina as this sort of young prodigy. Remember, they love the number 10, the creator, the playmaker, the fantasy player, and sort of stocky, little muscular dynamo dribbler. Well, I don't need to describe him as a player, do I? But worked his way through Argentina and then off to Barcelona. I think for a sort of world record fee at that time. And I mean, go and watch the Maradona film that came out a couple of years ago. I actually reviewed it for this channel. You can go and sort of see that as a reference point if you want. And the big thing with Barcelona is the pressure and the expectation and all of that on him. Was so great, and the kickings he just used to get in the game. I know we get a lot of comparisons to him and maybe modern day greats like Ronaldo and Messi now, and the previous Ronaldo in the late 90s for Brazil maybe, or a Pele or a Charlton or a Best before him, a Puskás, a Eusebio, etc. But it was fairly obvious that Maradona took an absolute kick and obviously famously had his ankle broken in Barcelona. I think obviously his finest hour was the 86 World Cup, wasn't it? Where this nation is on his shoulders, and it's a great football nation, Argentina, just full of passion and full of love and sort of drive, and all of that funnels into whoever is the great creator in these Argentinian teams. And of course, there was no greater than Maradona, and he essentially, I don't want to say, it's disrespectful to say he wins the 86 World Cup by himself, but you'll hear many people with greater links than me to that World Cup say that. So and then, of course, the quarter-final against England, where within the space of, I think, about 10 minutes even, he scores the hand of God goal, which Sir Bobby Robson says is the hand of a rascal, this instinctual cheating. Everybody's furious, and it's just a microcosm of the man, that you have this nefarious kind of rascal cheat behaviour that some people criticise, immediately followed by just the most insanely brilliant goal that you'll ever see, with the power and the aggression and the speed and the acceleration, and then just the balletic deftness when he actually goes through. And I think the greatest call I've ever heard by a football commentator, by Barry Davies. He runs off, Barry Davies pauses and says, and you have to say, that's magnificent. And I get little goosebumps even thinking about that we know what's happened before, but you have to say that's magnificent. And it's just just incredible. And then what was incredible after was Napoli as well, which is a relatively unsuccessful, unglamorous southern Italian club, and of course, and the Maradona film charts this, that he went there and they won the double, and I think they won the UEFA Cup as well. Just a force of nature, and when he would find his home, and he was the guy, he was just unstoppable, wasn't he? So incredible career. And then I remember the 1990 World Cup, where maybe not at the peak of his powers by this point, but still Argentina get to the final. And I remember the run and the assist for Argentina to beat Brazil, which was massive South American derby as well, in the earlier rounds before they eventually lose in the final, don't they, to West Germany, lose their heads really, don't they? But he scores the decisive penalty, doesn't he, in the shootout against Italy in the semi, where the Italians love him. You just couldn't write the stuff, could you? Things sour, don't they? And we do see him again at one more World Cup, and you'll remember him scoring against Greece and running to the camera, and his eyes are bulging, and it all looks a bit odd, doesn't it? And then we get the positive drugs test, and I mean, it's been a bit of a circus since, hasn't it? And he does end up Argentina manager, and from my understanding, it just couldn't not happen, that given he essentially just runs through everything that's Argentinian football, that until they gave him the job, it was, it was just gonna be a millstone around whoever was then doing the Argentinian manager's job. So he wasn't a great football manager. With his kind of chaotic being and presence, I don't think, I suppose as an inspiration and a motivator, he could have been, but I think we all sort of knew differently with the Maradona as a football manager. Obviously, his iconic status always got him jobs, and he was never far from the headlines. And you would see, I think, just with that type of personality, that he would go in and out of trouble and have good periods and bad periods. And he's died now at the age of 60. I think a sort of glorious and tragic existence, like all of these people. I think he comes across as just another Argentinian football fan, as passionate as all the rest of them, but he was the one with the searing, incredible talent and ability, who could go and live out their dreams for them on the pitch. And as much as he wouldn't have had it any other way, whenever he stepped onto the pitch, all of the eyes were on him, all of the weight of expectations of supporters were on him. And when playing for Argentina, that meant the basically a nation on his shoulders, and he wouldn't have had it any other way. But he's just a man. Do you know what I mean? And to be able to cope with that would have been impossible for most people. And of course, he struggled to cope with it for a lot of his life, didn't he? But obviously, lots of people argue that he's the greatest of all time. Now's probably not the time to debate that, but to say that he was the greatest of his generation would not be a stretch to make. To say that those that played against him couldn't get near him, and this combination of just power and talent and exhilaration, like I said, and then the deftness and the skill with it, just a complete fantasy football player, wasn't he? So will no doubt always be remembered as an absolute all-time great. And I know a lot of England fans are still upset at him for the handball, but I don't think anyone can deny the sheer artistry of the bloke, and what he means particularly to Argentinian football fans. And crikey, I can only imagine, I'm sure we'll see pictures of it coming now, the outpouring that there's going to be in Argentina, a genuine sort of god really, in in terms of their culture, not their football culture, their culture, the country. So a huge deal. So rest in peace, Maradona. Thank you for just an insane sort of level of talent and ability that we can still watch clips of now and be awed by. Obviously, for England football fans, the hand of God and then the ridiculous goal straight after it is always going to be his legacy. But there's much more to it than that. And say a life well lived. I'm sure he lived out all of his fantasies often on the football pitch, but lived very fast and has died today at the age of 60. Get your thoughts in the comments on Maradona. Look, I know it's mixed, but in terms of not speaking ill of the dead, let's try and keep things respectful. And where do you place him? And particularly in '86 and at a World Cup, has there ever been a player drag a team to glory like he did with Argentina in '86? So that is my thoughts and reflections on the sad news that Diego Maradona has died today, aged 60.